Hello, and welcome to the Creators Guild podcast. I'm Chris Howell, and with me behind the camera,
Jared Lovelady.
And we're here to talk about all things creative, including, we have another guest here with us today. You want to introduce yourself?
Hey guys, how's everybody doing out there? My name is Trent Mall. I create glass things, I guess.
Yes.
So, Glassblower, flame work. So I guess we'll do that later.
Yeah,
Yep. Go check.
definitely. Yep, we'll dive into that a little bit. Fire, melting stuff.
Yes, and we're classic dragons.
Yes, and laughing drag.
And there's dragons.
There. Yep.
Is what I'm told. I haven't read because I'm a bad podcast. Yes, but I'm very excited.
You've listened to podcasts in your life before, though.
I do. I love podcasts.
Yeah.
Most of them are pretty good. We get to see what humans are doing.
Yes.
I like to see what humans do. I don't like to see what celebrities are doing. I want to see what a human's doing and how they react to life. So
and that's what we're all about. That's anybody who's come along the journey with us so far. We are about people and people being creative.
Right.
And that's why we're here with Trent today. We're going to learn about some of Trent's creativity.
Yes, sir.
But first, as always, we're going to read another chapter from A Flight from Shadows, Volume 1 in the Chronicles of Duradim series. And we are diving into Chapter 19. And today, Trent's going to follow along.
Yes.
It's like being in school all over again. Follow along, children.
No, it's so exciting. I shouldn't be this excited, I don't think, but I really am. All right.
Okay. Chapter 19, A Broken Face, Cycle of Aeolith, year 12-182. There are those in this world whose very existence seems designed to create pain for others. Should such be allowed to exist? And if not, who should be the arbiter of existence? I know not, but were it up to me, there are some who I would most certainly eliminate. Dansum Guten's Aphorisms, 70th stanza. Sunlight cascaded through the high, narrow window, illuminating a galaxy of motes that hung suspended in the still air. The whitewashed stone walls gleamed as if freshly coated. Had there been any adornments, the room would have felt clean and inviting. Instead, the starkness gave the room a sense of sterility and coldness. The only furnishings were the narrow straw mat with its undisturbed coarse wool blanket that lay pushed against the wall across from the window, and the wooden chamber pot that sat beside the heavy, steel-banded door. Anyone glancing in the room would have predicted that it smelled fresh, as though maids had just finished tidying. Instead, it had the heavy scent of old mud and stale moss, accompanied by the coppery smell of dried blood. The thick iron bars on the window painted the floor with 5 bright bands of light that reached like stretching fingers across the room to caress once brightly colored clothes. Now dingy and tattered yellow trousers were mottled with an intricate pattern of deep brown splotches. They took my tools. Teth sat beside the straw mat, turning his hands over in the stripes of darkness and light as he inspected the patterns of spots and streaks formed by the dried blood still coating them. He waggled his fingers, watching the light as it first shimmered on a pale fingernail, then shone a dull reddish brown on the next one. He liked the way the blood on his hands made the skin feel tighter. It was almost like wearing a second skin. He chuckled at the thought, wearing someone else's skin on top of his. That was funny. Don't you worry none, he said to his hand as his hands continued to dance. You'll get them back, Ted. You'll get your shiny little children back, and then you'll get to play with them some more. Even as he spoke the words, he felt a deep pang of anxiety that maybe he wouldn't get to hold his precious shiny tools again. Maybe he wouldn't get to use them to make any more music. He had gotten to play with them one more time, but it wasn't the good kind of playing. The man didn't make any of the sweet noises, and Teth had almost been killed in the process. If he hadn't had one of his children hidden and gotten an arm free, the man would have killed him for sure. When he got that one out, it was over too quickly. It should have lasted longer, but the man had cried out one last time. Not the good way, though. Not the way he should have. He did not make any sweet songs. He had cried out for the guard, and Teth could not run. The man had twisted Teth's leg so badly that it still didn't work right. The guard had caught him with no trouble at all. They took all his little music-making children, without him even getting to stick anyone else. He knew he had messed things up. He was only supposed to kill the man. He could have snuck up on him and just ended it real quick like. But he had wanted to hear the man sing. He had wanted to hear the princess sing too. He wasn't supposed to keep going after her, but he just wanted to hear her so badly. He had ignored the man and tried sneaking past him to get to the princess. She got away from him before. He had wanted to hear her voice echo off the canyon walls, but she had smashed him in the face and somehow stabbed Balor too. When the man grabbed him, he thought he'd just make him sing a little, then go finish off the princess. But he was so strong. He was a real fighter. It was only luck that he had had one of his children tucked away, like the goddess watching over him and giving him a chance to give her back some of the man's blood. He smiled again, looking at his hands, as he remembered the feeling of the warm blood running over them. His thoughts were interrupted by the sounds of keys, jangling, and the scuffing of footsteps. The heavy door to his small room opened and 4 people walked in. The leader was the white-haired high elf, who dressed in fancy clothes. He was the master jailer, who held the keys to Teth's cell, and, likely, the one who was keeping all of Teth's children. Next was the large man who Teth knew was Ethrin, the captain of the guard. Teth was not afraid of anyone, not even Captain Ethrin, but he had learned quickly not to say the wrong thing in the captain's presence. The night before, when Ethrin had confronted him, Teth had made a comment about making the other man sing. He had thought maybe Ethrin was all bluster, but the captain had hit him so hard that Teth was surprised his head had remained attached to his neck. He had made sure to keep his answers more clear since then, but he knew he wasn't all that smart. But he was a fast learner. He smiled when the other 2 walked in. One was a small coppery-skinned beauty of a wood elf with thick black hair that you could tangle your fingers in. The other was the golden-haired princess, dressed up all prim and proper. No more riding pants for her today. Too bad for that. The princess stopped when she saw him, her eyes going wide, and her hand coming to her mouth. "Captain," she said, her musical voice bouncing off the stark stone walls, "I know this man." The captain turned, his face unreadable. "You know him?" he asked. "How? From where?" "His face is broken from my hitting him with a rock, but he is still recognizable. I saw him in the Trekkin camp, and again when he attacked us in the canyon." Teth smiled again. She knew who he was, and he could hear the tremble of fear in her voice, that subtle play that played with every syllable she spoke. It was not the music he would have liked to have her make, but it was still pleasant to his ears. He reached up to touch his flattened, twisted nose. He had tried to straighten it as best he could. His eyes had swollen nearly shut for a while. Then he had thought he would die, but he had survived, and now she was here looking at him. He wasn't mad at her for smashing his face. It was all part of the game. Sometimes you won, sometimes you lost. She had won that time. "We wasn't supposed to, but I wanted to make you sing," he said, imagining the scene playing out the way it should have, in the soft grass of the canyon clearing. "I was going to make your friends sing first, though. They was all supposed to sing." His mind came back to where he was, and he looked at her intently. "But if you lets me go, I won't do that no more. I won't come after you. We wasn't supposed to do that anyway. We was just supposed to stop you from being an accolade." He was staring so intently at her that he didn't see the captain's boot when it struck him in the side of the head. He sprawled across the straw mat. Pain flared in his leg and spots danced in his vision. It took him a moment to recover, to see the string of saliva and blood flowing from his mouth onto the now disheveled wool blanket. He picked it up and wiped the blood and drool from his lips before shifting painfully back into a seated position. "You will not address the princess again. Do you understand?" Captain Ethrin asked, his voice so calm he might have been sitting for afternoon tea. Teth held the blanket to his still bleeding mouth. A ringing sound filled his ears. He looked at the captain, making sure to keep his gaze submissive, and nodded his acknowledgement. "Good," said Ethrin. "There is no need for her to hear your voice again." He turned to the princess then. "My lady, I know you wanted to see who had killed Duchesne, but this changes things. Come out with me, please." He gestured towards the door, and the princess and the wood elf girl strode from the room. "I would be very careful if I were you, Master Teth," the gaoler said. "I cannot be responsible for the captain's actions. He is a just man, but it is a friend of his whose life you took, and he was unarmed. The captain is not one to suffer fools and cowards, and you have demonstrated that you are both." He turned and walked to the door, stopping in a position so that both Teth and the open doorway were in his line of sight. This man apparently knew his business, despite the frilly lace he wore. Voices came from outside the door, and Teth listened intently. You are absolutely sure it's him? Came Etherin's voice. I have no doubt of seeing him in the camp, with the other man. I could not see his face after the attack. It was too coated in blood. But the man Traylon stabbed was the man he was with. From his own words just now, he confirms it. He was supposed to kill me for simply seeking a position rightly available to me as a princess. There was a brief pause, and the princess spoke again. I want him dead, Captain. Drop him in the oubliette, and I'll gladly close the door. We can't kill him, my lady, Etherin replied. He must be questioned further. When he attacked Duchesne, we assumed he was after you, and Duchesne got in the way. But he said he was meant to kill that Vargand. Why? What could that possibly mean? He is insane, the princess nearly shouted. Did you hear him talking about making me sing? And making the Trekken sing? What kind of demented mind are we dealing with? Is he even lucid when he's speaking? He was obviously working for someone, came the captain's voice again, this time with a hint of frustration. He has already let things slip. The jailer has been documenting everything he says. He murmurs to himself and talks about what he was meant to do. Now that we know he was sent after you in the canyon, we have more to question him about and more connection that must be made. Hell, he will probably tell us everything we want to know without us even having to persuade him. I want you to persuade him, Princess said, her voice fierce. He is one person I do not mind knowing about being given to the questioners. Even if his answers are insane, he killed Duchesne. He attacked me in the Crescent Canyon. He is the reason my Trekken friends are dead. He deserves whatever he gets. I would do it myself if you would not stop me. Ted could hear her breathing. He could tell she was on the verge of tears. How sweet her songs would have been. Don't mean that, Captain Etherin said softly, but I understand what you were saying. He is our only true lead at the moment. If we can find who sent him... The voices became too quiet for Teth to understand. Had they moved further away, or had they decided to whisper? He could hear the muffled speech, the hiss of scratches of quiet voices as they echoed off the stone walls. It made him think of the little animals he had made sing, their voices often hisses and squeaks, but still so musical, and the occasional child. They were the best. But better than women and men, but he liked the different songs they sang. Suddenly, the captain was back in the doorway. Master Jailer, if you will invite your guards to relocate our friend here to the lower cells, I believe we can find a more comfortable setting for him to provide answers to some critical questions. Shall I send for you when he is moved? That will not be necessary. I fear I would give in to my more base desires with this one. I will leave it to the questioners to extract from him what they can. Very good, Captain. With that, they both left the cell, closing the heavy door behind them. Tet looked at his hands, letting his mottled fingers dance in the light once more. Would they make him sing? He had never thought of that before. He smiled, even as he felt his heart begin to race. Dun, dun, dun.
That's an interesting character.
Yeah.
It's fun to write.
Yeah.
It's fun to get in or try to get into the head of a psychopath.
Yeah.
But it's also scary when you read it and you're like, I think we did a good job. And I don't know that's good, but I did a good job getting into that head.
You know, we have all these award shows for psychopaths called like the Oscars, everything. And like the better you are at wearing somebody else, their thoughts, their actions, everything, the more praise you get.
Yeah.
For example, Johnny Depp in A Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
He lived with Hunter S. Thompson for a year. He learned how to be him.
Yeah.
It fundamentally changed him for the rest of his life. But yeah, it's
well, look at what's his name? The guy that played the Joker.
Yeah. Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger. Yeah. Like,
love that.
but he, like everybody who talked about him said, like he got into the Joker. Like he became the Joker.
Be it too. Like that's why I love that.
Yeah.
That one because of him.
Yes.
And he embraced the psychopath as well.
Yeah. But you got to wonder, like, what was the result of that? Like, how much of that did he carry over?
Right.
You know, I don't know. I don't know if any.
How strong was his mind? Was he able to delve into that world and come back without being changed too much.
Yeah. I mean, is it really so? The people that are method actors, is that a form of Munchausen syndrome?
Is that much how?
That Munchausen is where you begin to associate with your captors.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And or Stockholm syndrome.
So,
I was thinking Munchausen by proxy is when you, different.
I forget.
Yeah, Munchausen is when you make somebody else sick on your behalf. No, Stockholm syndrome, not Munchausen.
Well,
like if you get yourself into method acting,
right?
Kind of, it's like people that go undercover, like deep undercover CIA agents. People that are infiltrating things, and they're like, well, which is really me? Is it this person?
Right.
Or is it the person who I'm supposed to actually be?
I think method acting is the only acting.
Yes. But
I'm a stuff.
Does that cause a form of Stockholm syndrome where it's like,
absolutely.
Like, no, it's okay to be a psychopath.
Well, it is. We give them awards. Every year we give them awards.
I guess.
The CEOs of the Fortune 500 companies, most of them would range as, they call it antisocial personality disorder.
Yeah.
It's not psychopath, but they got a bad rap. But yeah, and then traders. Stock exchange traders.
Yeah.
A lot of them are psychopaths as well. They fall into that same category. That's why they're good at
don't have to be a psychopath to be like, tick.
No, because like, I used to race motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I found one of the best ways for me to become more competitive
is to stab people as you drove by?
Kind of. It was to look at the person ahead of me as prey.
Yeah.
And I was a predator. And my job was to catch them and kill them.
Did you have a laser on your shoulder?
No, but I got a lot of chemicals released in my brain when I played that game. I can understand how that can happen to somebody. Because
well, look at people. Look at
good feeling.
There are not all, but certain professional fighters that they get in the ring, and their mentality is not like, hey, we're in a competition. Trent, you and I, we're gonna fight, right. And I'm gonna try to take you down, and you're gonna try to take me down, and I'm gonna try to win.
Right.
The mentality is, okay, there's certain rules I have to be constrained by, but within those constraints, I'm gonna try to kill you.
Right. Yeah. So you are a fighter, you said.
Yeah.
So I sponsor a fighter. He's a Muay Thai Jiu-Jitsu based.
Yeah.
Marshall Kemp. What's up, Marshall? Out of Springfield, is the best dude around. But I kind of told him the same thing before I went to fights. I said, look, man, there's a difference in the guy that wakes up and says, I got to fight tonight. And he's all excited. He's excited. He's trained hard. He's ready. And then you got the guy that's just like, well, if that breath doesn't do his job, I'm going to kill that.
Yeah.
I get to kill him. Yeah, when you get that change, I think that's the change from amateur to professional. When you go to that more like, if you better be good at your job, bro, because if you're not good at your job, this guy's going to get seriously hurt. Yeah. And I'm going to enjoy doing it because that's my job.
Yeah.
And the only reason some of these guys don't get hurt is because that ref steps in. Yeah. And pulls them off, steps them in.
Yeah, it's interesting thinking about that. Like when you are grappling with someone and you're practicing and you're just, okay, we're going to practice an arm bar, and you lock in and you put them in an arm bar and you're like, okay, I'm going to put a little bit more pressure and a little bit more until you tap. Where's the tap point? And you're like, I don't want to dislocate your shoulder or pop your elbow out of joint or break your arm.
Yeah.
But when you're actual fighting, it's if I have your arm and I think I have an arm bar, I'm going to try to do a back bend.
Yeah.
Whatever your arm does, doesn't matter. Yeah. My intention is you have to lose.
I love it.
But I'm like, but it's a mentality. Like when you think of, if you stop and pause even that microsecond to think, this is another human's arm, you lose.
Why would you do that? It takes all the fun out of it. Yeah, that's why I don't compete anymore.
Yeah, I mean, but
I competed in pants and jujitsu, and I was able to secure a gold medal, and it was an amazing experience. But it was one of the hardest things I've done in my life.
yeah,
Training for a year at that level, going in there against people all across the world out there, and to see who is the best,
yeah,
whatever that means. And yeah, it's amazing because you're on the same match with those guys. Nate Diaz was that, MMA. Just like I watched him slap a kid. The kid comes up and says, "Will you give me a Stockton slap?" And he's like, "What?" The kid like 10. And the kid's dad's over there. He's like, "Are you cool?" And he's like, "Yeah, man." He's got his camera. He's like, he's smashing the kid. Yeah, it's a different to get into that mindset though, and it's different. So I don't do that anymore. It's almost that I liked it too much.
Well, there's a difference. Like you see some fighters outside of the ring that it's like they can't turn it off. There's not I'm flipping the switch when I'm inside the ring versus when I step out of the ring. That when I'm outside the ring, that I can't just interact with people at that same level.
What?
And I can't not see the people around me as they're actually people. Some people don't have the ability to turn that off.
What age, though? Is it an age thing that happens? Because I used to be a motorcycle rider. I used to be Air Force, or I used to be this, or I used to be that. And now I'm trying very hard to be nothing.
And maybe it is something to do with that.
Yeah.
Something like Jared, I don't know if you, I'm like you, Jared and I used to get into, Jared's dad was in the Air Force. And we would like go do Air Force stuff. And growing up, Jared was like into airplanes, and I was into airplanes, but not to the same level that Jared was into airplanes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's like, there's like, when I look at Jared and my friendship growing up, we've shared a lot of interests, but at different levels and from different perspectives.
Right.
Jared will get really into a thing.
Right.
And I'm like, I dabble and I try to understand at a fundamental level what it is, but I've had a hard time my whole life finding anything that's like, that's my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was in the Army, but I'm like, I'm not Army. I'm like, if I had joined the Marines, I doubt very much I would be Semper Fi, always like, I am a Marine. I'd be like, yeah, I was a Marine.
I think part of I get into one thing. I have 3 or 4 forms of ADHD.
Yeah.
And that's part of it. You get into a thing until you either perfect that thing or run it to its fruition, and then you move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
You get bored.
Yeah.
I love starting new jobs. I've had let's say 40 jobs. And I'm always like gung ho. I'm like, yeah, this will be a good one. And I get in there and I learn everything in a week, right? Because that ADHD autism brain loves categorizing and learning new rules and learning new procedures. And we do this at this time and this at this time. And then I looked around 2 weeks later and I'm like, that's it?
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. When can I get promoted so I can do more? You haven't worked here long enough. Yeah, but I'm bored and doing everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I deep dive. Again, glass is what I'm deep diving in right now. Before this, it was golf.
Well, see, like I'll do that. I'll get into things and I dive in. But if I've said I'm going to do this, then I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to keep doing it. But I'm like, well, it's like we've talked about, people that are engineers, like the classic engineer. Like my degree, I have a degree in mechanical engineering.
Okay.
And I work as an engineer. But I'm like, when I talk to other people who are like, you were like the least engineer. You know?
Yeah.
I think part of that is we grew up working on cars,
Yeah.
and a mechanical engineer and a mechanic are like oil and water.
Yeah. Because I think your hands are way smaller than they really are. I always worked on motorcycles. I was a motorcycle mechanic. We always curse. We're all like freaking Japanese guys with their small fingers thinking, yeah, put that bolt right there. That'll be fine. And here we are in America, like upside down. They're like, yeah, that'll.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chris. If you
I guess like I've seen things where it's like boys will turn 5 and they'll pick one of these pathways for their life. And it's like space, dinosaurs, trucks, well, construction equipment, something, it's kind of stereotypical. And I'm like, yeah, there are a lot of, kids are like, I'm a cowboy.
right.
From like 4 to 11, they are a cowboy and they know like everything about cowboys. Or there's that little boy that goes around and talks about tractors. And he's like, yeah, this is the cotton baler 40 to 60 and it does this many an hour. Well, he like knows everything about every tractor in the world. But maybe he doesn't know anything about dinosaurs. I don't know.
Right.
But it's like they'll pick it's that stereotypical thing of you'll pick something and that'll be your personality. And I know a lot of people like that.
Right.
A guy that I grew up with, by the time we're like juniors in high school, he could juggle anything while playing the piano. And he was like super into like Weird Al and cover songs and all kinds of stuff like that. And that was like his personality. And I think from that fighter perspective or going back to this mentality thing, like I think that's part of it, that some people actually do that and there might be things even as an adult where it's like they are that.
Yeah,
I am a whatever, I am this fighter.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I do a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But I have a hard time saying like, what am I? And I'm like, I like Goonie shirts and I'm a very turtle hat.
I've recently decided I'm a servant because I went on a mission. I went to the Air Force. I did firefighting. I did EMT, first responder. And now I started a store where we help people all the time. And the other day I said, what am I? Like I literally had this conversation like in my head the other day. And I'm always thinking about how other people see.
Yeah.
Right. Because I wear a lot of hats and a lot of people. So like once you've known me for like, I'm going to say like 10 to 15 years, you get a pretty good idea of who I am.
Yeah.
But if you've only known me for like the past 5-6 years, I'm the weed guy. I'm not the weed guy. I just saw an opportunity and I said, well, I'd do that. And then here I am.
Yeah.
Fighting for civil rights, apparently. Here, just sitting in a... But then I find myself serving again as a lightning rod to say, well, if you're going to arrest somebody, arrest me. And then they did it.
You need to make a shirt that takes the Superman emblem and modifies it. And it says fighting for truth, justice, and the stoner's way. And put a weed leaf in the middle.
I love stuff like that. Yeah. But yeah, what were we talking about? I forgot now.
Personalities. What are we? But you, so shifting a little bit here, what are you now? You do glass blowing.
I do glass blowing. I am a glass blower. It took me a long time to do that. I was like, I'm not a glass blower.
Yeah.
I work glass. Like you're like, I'm not a blacksmith. I'm a blacksmith, but I'm not a blacksmith.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Because we're so worried about attaching a label because, well, as soon as I say I'm a glass blower, your mind goes,
I'm like, Silver
whatever you think a glass blower.
Right.
And Silver Dollar City where you're like, making like little animals.
Yeah.
I could do something. I could make a little dragon and stuff.
Is the hot Forged and Fire or is that the welding one?
Forged and Fire is the smithing one.
What's
yeah,
the
blown away.
Blown away.
blown away?
Yeah, so a lot of people when they hear me say I'm a glass blower, they think of blown away and
Well-
think of those big things called glory holes that get to 20. Yeah, I know. Whatever. We're all adults here, right? Obviously. And so, and that's one way of working this soft glass, this soda glass, and then there's the scientific glass blowers that make, all of the chemicals. They make $500,000 machines out of glass for Cornell.
Well, I used to do a company I used to work for. We did night vision and electro optics for spotting scopes and rifle scopes and stuff, and we had to deal with optics.
Oh yeah,
We dealt a lot.
those perfect.
We dealt a lot with like Swarovski, working with their scopes and monocles and monoculars, stuff like that. Not monocles. Maybe they make a monocle up and
I make it on. It's expensive one.
yeah. But anyway, we dealt with their stuff, and then we ended up we had beam splitter optics that had to be like the certain clarity level and stuff like that.
You got to play with those and everything, like build them and play with them.
Yeah, I used to help design the different eyepieces and stuff for the.
Jeez. I was excited to get to play with an ACOG.
Yeah,
That's like the best scope I ever got to play with.
well, see, like our stuff would be you take an ACOG, and then if you want your ACOG to be night vision, you'd buy our night vision because it could attach to the eyepiece of an ACOG. And then you want to record and transmit what you're recording through the night vision, then you'd take our eyepiece optic and attach it to the night vision, and then you have a buttstock extender to keep your same eye relief position. But everything you see, including your crosshairs or the ACOG, including your, But so we had to be able to line up all those lenses. So
that's cool. Was that for government application or for commercial?
You could buy it commercially, but most of it was for like SWAT teams, special forces training.
Yeah. It was
selling to U.S. allies. So.
It was a good budget. You got to play.
Yeah, we'd go out and test the Barrett 50 cal.
Yeah.
Be like, well, we got to test this out. I guess we got to go to the range.
Got to go to the range. Got to go spend $5 a shot.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Actually, because we tested match rounds.
Yeah.
So they're like $7.50 to $9 a round.
Well, you'd have to, right?
Yeah.
To make sure everything was spot on. You'd have to have everything perfect. And then you put your variable on it.
Yeah. So how were you introduced to glass? Like, what made you think, I could do that with glass?
So I have PTSD. Shout out to all the people out there with PTSD. You're not alone. And, right?
Yeah.
So one day my wife said, hey, cannabis is legal in CBD form. This thing called CBD is like 7 years.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, okay. And she said, it's supposed to help with CBD with this. And I said, okay. And so I tried it and it almost worked. Like I could feel it almost working.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was, okay, well, I went out to Colorado. I've got family out in Colorado and went out to Colorado and got some weed.
Yeah.
And I tried it and I was like, oh my goodness, it's different. Life is different. Now it's better now. My PTSD is under control. Yay. And then I came back here to Marshfield and we legalized. And so I realized we were going to need a store. And so I knew that it was important for people to have high quality devices, and I knew that there was science involved. There was ways to do it healthier than just smoking a joint.
Yeah.
So we started a store and our focus is all on education and health conscious delivery, And so one of the most health conscious delivery devices you can have is borosilicate flex. It cleans out. It's perfect. It doesn't have off gassing. It doesn't hold anything, everything on it. It's like a lasagna pan. I could literally take a lasagna pan, hit it with a hammer, melt it on the torch, make a pipe.
Yeah.
So it's the same glass And so I realized that I could vertically integrate and I could be the manufacturer, the wholesaler, and the retailer. And so anytime you can capture all from manufacturer all the way to retail in an industry, should go for it.
Yeah.
And so luckily this is going well still. So
Yeah.
So we mostly make hand pipes. But if you ask most glass blowers, and again, we'll see, I guess, when we get on there, we'll see what kind of glass blower. Most glass blowers that make pipes will probably tell you, I make pipes because they make money.
Yeah.
I'd rather make marbles. Because they'll make a pipe, or a water pipe or a bong, and then they'll like put this big old beautiful marble on it. And it took like 3 hours to make it. It's $100, $200 marble or cab, we call it, and we stick it on there. And so then we took a $100 piece, made it a $300.
Yes.
And so it really is about the art.
Yeah.
Before I started using cannabis, I thought that was like a cop out. Like, it's not an art, guys. It's a ball.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, it's a plant. It grows to the ground. And it really is art, because when we shape things, when you shape a vessel, that's the only one.
Yeah.
I don't care if you look at if you buy 10 beakers, right? Unless you buy them at a scientific level, they're going to be slight differences.
Yeah.
And the size of the flask, the Erlenmeyer, the base, and the height is going to be a little bit off. Within 10%, we call good production. Scientific, different world. They're crazy. They need perfection. But yeah, each shape is special. Like each time you put a marble on there and you place it, you put it with intent. And so I don't know what it's art. If that's not art, I don't know what is. So I'm like, oh, so that's what got me into double glass, because I was like, the wigwag actually is what got me into a specific technique. I couldn't figure out how to do it. So my ego set in, and it was like,
what is a wing? Is it winwag? No.
A wigwag.
Wigwag
is where we take straight lines, we heat them up, and we twist, and then we let it set. And so now, instead of a straight line, we have a straight line, a kick down, and straight. And that would be the wig. We let that cool down, which will make it harden back up. And then we go just a little bit over it, and we get it hot again, and we move it the opposite way, right back. So we have a straight line, a wig, a wag, and a straight line. And then we'll just continue to put those wigs and those wags all the way through the glass. And then you blow it up, you switch the axis, and it's called a wig. And yeah, it just blew my mind how glass worked. And so once I learned how that worked, I had to do it. And then I did do the deep dives.
Yeah.
And
you were like, challenge unlocked.
For the rest of my life. So I found two things that have not stopped interesting me in my life, and that's jujitsu and glass. And I think garden is going to there. You know how many plants there are?
Hey, you've got the Carolina Reapers. I'm talking about that.
Oh, there are so many plants. And I'm just like, I don't have enough time. I've only got like 60 years left here, probably. Like, I don't have enough time to grow all the plants I want to do. And there's these people like worrying about like politics. I'm like, but guys, there's this thing called Dragon's Breath beans, and they're striped purple.
Yeah.
Like, we got to try it. Like, are you guys planning your, I asked you, are you planting your garden for the fall? What? Your fall garden? Are you doing that? Well, no, but I'm really concerned about politics. And I'm like, well, I've got Swiss chard going. And I tell you what, you can at least eat that. It might be nasty. At least you can eat it. Other stuff's just nasty. But yeah, so that's how I got into glass. And then, like I said, most art you don't get paid for.
Yeah.
Glass work, you
And get paid for it.
you can, right? I do it at a craftsman level. Okay. All of my pieces are one-offs, basic.
Yeah.
I do what the glass wants. Then when I get enough that look the same, I go. Because I got, 4, 5, 6 that's on it, and but even that, you're making $60 an hour to $100 an hour to, if you sell, there's this one thing we have called dab straws, and people heat it up and use it with their concentrate. It vaporizes it. It's one of the more healthier ways to use it. And when you make those, you make $240 an hour. I just don't sell $240 for an hour of, like, if I did that, I would be so rich, man. But I only sell like 6 a week. I can make 6 in 10 minutes. So it's like, catch. The rest is sub wholesale, and that's like $3. That's not good. That's $50.
Like, how'd you do this week? I made $240 an hour once.
Yeah, for about like 20, 30 minutes, I made $240. It's really weird being your own boss. We talked about that. It's really weird how you gauge, and you have to stop gauging your worth by the hour.
Yeah,
but that's the only way other people understand it. But like, while I've been in here, I've heard the doorbell ring like 6 times.
Yeah,
so I'm making.
Yeah, if you hear the binging, it's.
Yeah, sorry guys,
we turned the one off back here.
That would have been really. But yeah,
you would have definitely heard that one.
So I don't make all my money on the torch. I make some here. And when you start providing those passive income streams, right, and you start working, Melissa, my wife, said 20 novels to 50K. The theory. Now, if you get 20 novels out, passive income will be $50,000 a year off.
Or you can write one Harry Potter book.
Yeah. Hey, I love
there yet.
for you guys to make some Harry Potter money.
Me too. I would love it.
Absolutely saying Harry Potter worthy money right here. That's you put my little
yeah.
Yeah.
But no, the creativity side though, like you were saying about, well, is it really art?
Right.
Well, I used to build houses. Most of them I did custom homes for contractors.
Ooh, definitely.
But I'm like, fundamentally, you have walls with corners and space to put furniture.
Right.
And a place to put to cook food.
Right.
And a place to, like, that's it. That's
right.
What you're keeping rain off of somebody's church. But I'm like, we would come into houses and talk to, I don't think there's a single house in the years that I did custom home building that we walked in with blueprints and the house was built to those blueprints.
Yeah.
Because we'd get the contractor there, and if we could, we'd get the homeowner.
Yeah.
Whoever, worked with the contractor to design this home, and we would be like, hey, before we build these walls,
you're like,
if we do this, if we change this angle or this ceiling, you have the ceiling that has like just a square in it.
Right.
We could turn that into like a turtle shell vault.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now's the time. We could do it right now. And it will cost more, but we're talking like a couple $100 more on a $400,000 house.
Yeah.
So a couple $100 more for this ceiling if we do it now.
That's what
but you didn't put it into this design. Yeah.
Just spruce it up just a little bit.
Yeah. So things like we could vault the ceiling. We could put a gable over here. I don't know how many people were like, you have all this thing. You have a 12 pitch, which is a steep roof.
Yeah.
Above a garage, like a 3.5 car door.
Mm.
And we're like, and it's all dead space.
You got a roof.
Your plan calls for cars.
Yeah.
We're like, we could turn this into, and then also we can gable the ceiling and have like, put dormers out.
Right.
Like ultimately it was really nice. the crew that we worked on, it was like, there wasn't any, we don't want to hear your input, just shut up, build the wall, everything.
Right.
My boss was a great guy, and it was really good to be like, he's like, if you see something that you think could make this home better for the person who's buying it, nicer, more interesting, more unique,
Right.
say something.
Yeah. Yeah.
The worst they can do is be like, no, we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then, okay.
It's so nice to work with money.
But I'm like,
Yeah.
I've been in small business for 6 years now. I forgot what it was like.
yeah,
Still work with money. Now I'm like, okay, I got this much here. We're going to make this much stay. Yeah, we'll put that in there. We'll pay this off and we'll order more inventory over here and do this. And
we're like, and I don't have any money.
yeah.
But I created art.
I created revenue.
Because I mean, even when I was doing kind of like I'm like, I wasn't making a lot of money,
Right.
but it was nice. Like there's still like, I know where some of the house,
Yeah.
and it's still satisfying to this day. It's been 2000, it's been 20 years
Yeah.
or more since I built some of those houses.
Yeah.
I still know where some of them are.
You're like,
See,
right there.
well, some of them, like we got to the point where before I changed careers, I was designing, like drawing up the blueprints for new houses.
Right.
And I'm like,
Well, I have a job for you, Chris. You still want to, you got one more blueprint left?
maybe,
Okay, we'll talk.
but I'm like, it's really satisfying to be like, I did that. This balcony area up here wasn't in the plans. Nobody envisioned it. He had this basic cookie cutter design, and then they handed it to me, and I got to say, now I'm gonna turn this into without trying to like explode costs.
Right.
Be like, how can I do this for the same cost?
Right.
Or if it's going to cost more, the cost is really just we have to buy some more materials.
Right.
But it's not going to create any more time for us.
Right.
We can still hit our deadline. So it's just going to be material.
Right.
But these little changes that now your house is art.
Right.
And maybe, you could argue, well, it was art before, but I'm like, but now my fingerprints are on that.
Yeah. When somebody comes in and they see, they come in and they see those little extras, and the people that know, right? It's always got to be the people that know are going to come in and go, oh, crown molding. Okay.
Yeah.
Crown molding. These people that get crown molding. Okay.
Or they're like, these people were alive in the 70s. What attitude? I don't know.
Right. But yeah, you see the little touches, and that's what makes it human.
Yeah.
Right? Because so we moved in here, right? It's pretty sterile when we moved in. We've been here 6 months, and I got curtains. We're going to put actually some crown molding in and put some little mood lighting in.
Track lighting.
Yeah, well, I want it hidden, down in so that we just see the glow.
Yeah.
But yeah, humans want to make it our own.
Yeah.
If you live somewhere for a while and you leave it worse than you got it, that's weird to me.
Yeah.
Because what were you doing? Why weren't you taking care of it? Yeah. Why weren't you to the best of your, now maybe you can't, it's,
yeah, there's always things,
but I got to my house that I bought, and there was a whole area that was just washed out with mud, no grass.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, there's grass because I went and bought grass, put it there, and I worked in. Nothing hard. But why did the people before me maintain that love?
Yeah.
They didn't see it as art, maybe.
I
don't know. There's art. There's so much art everywhere, right? Because I didn't even notice, right? I think one of the ways it's art is because you look at it again and you see new things.
Yeah.
But you've got the faux texturing.
Yeah.
Right. You've got I assume the symbol means something within the lore.
Yes.
And you've got you did your own, I haven't seen this text before, so you sourced your own text or you altered it. So like there's art, even before you open the book and get to the first line, you already have the art if you know where to look.
Yeah.
So
I think
people who are creative, and most people I think are creative to some degree,
even if they don't realize it,
will find a way. Like I was a welder
right
for many years, and I was a custom fabrication welder I worked in a
sorry. Okay.
no, there's
After night
table.
yeah, there's no table here for me to or shake or anything this episode.
But I worked in a factory, and a lot of it was building units.
Right.
But because I was a custom fabricator, if we ever had anything that needed to be custom built,
Yeah.
I could. That was my chance to be creative and go, okay, I can build what you want.
Yep.
And I can do it this way, and I can I can take this up to the brake operators and have them bend it just right. And then, in the weld itself, you do some welding.
I've got all stainless over there. My buddy works at what's that spot by American Products? Insight?
Not much.
He's a welder, or he's a grinder over there. But he's a really good welder.
Most grinders are welders.
He's a really good welder. You got to be a pretty good welder, honestly. Otherwise, you got to take it back to the grinders, right? So he gets all this stainless at scrap prices.
Oh, nice.
And so, yeah, you'll see when we get over there. But
yeah, just putting a bead down.
I was looking at this bead today and looking at the art. I'm like, man, this is a good bead, right?
Yeah.
You got a good full weld all the way through. And I like it. Like, you can see right here. I'm like, yeah, I found it,
Yeah. So I think most people, if they have the chance, will throw creativity into whatever they're doing. As long as you're not put down in like a dead end job or, everyone goes through that.
Yeah.
And there's things that aren't worth putting your creative touch on. But I think if people can, they will.
When we're in school, we're taught that art is like painting and cutting paper. And so a lot of us, I feel, got the impression that we're bad at art because I was bad at drawing.
Mm-hmm.
No, I just had a shaky hand and I can't envision things very well in my head. So I got to copy.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Like you can see something and copy it. That's
now
you're an artist now, but it's so.
We've had a little bit of this discussion before, but there are some things, for example, using packing tape to stick a banana to the wall.
Yeah.
That's hard for me to justify as art.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, you thinking of doing that, okay, that maybe is creative, maybe, or lazy, I don't know, but
I saw one.
Well, calling that groundbreaking or whatever.
Right. So what's banana on the wall? What's the paper that was next to it describing it? Did it describe great anguish in some way that wasn't conveyed with the picture of?
Well, like
probably not, but like maybe, and then it's art.
So there's one where someone took a snow shovel and leaned it against the wall. Right. And then they called it Prelude to a Broken Arm. And I'm like, that's very creative.
I like that, see?
And if you're like just talking, what are some creative ideas?
Yeah.
Like, but to be like, this is world-renowned, earth-shattering art. I'm like, no, it isn't.
Yeah.
I saw one.
It's like it's thought-provoking. It's insightful. It's entertaining even.
Yeah.
But even like sticking the banana to the wall. I mean, we're talking about it.
Is it? So they created art by laughing at themselves, by like a self something joke. The jokes that you make.
The self-deprecating.
Yeah, self-deprecating. So are they saying that? So I always say after I get into any kind of philosophical discussion with somebody and I pose ideas that are not in line with their ideology, I'd always end it with or whatever.
Yeah.
Because it's very important to me for them to not feel like my way is the right way.
Yeah.
It could be, but or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Now, even being creative in houses, I will say, I've come across a lot of stuff that I'm like, yeah, you
Oh,
There's more than one right way. I've seen people do their own.
over to my house.
I'm like, there's more than one right way. You didn't come across any of it.
Oh, my I like wood. I like raw wood. I'm gonna put a lot of raw wood in my but they didn't do a lot of other stuff well.
And
I have switches. I have no idea where they go.
yeah,
My
Like
fireplace doesn't.
tile. When you walk across tile, like, okay, if you're like, I want to create a rocky terrain, okay, but when you're like, no, I want a smooth tile on the floor.
Right.
When it ends up being a rocky terrain,
Right.
you did it wrong. It doesn't matter what method you used. It was the wrong way to do.
Right.
And it's not you. Well, I was being creative. No.
That's not how I feel about that old style of laying brick where they like overlaid the cement in between them and they squished it way down.
And it like wishes out.
Yeah, squishes out, like falls out.
That house in
We know somebody.
Yeah, down in Ozark, there's a whole bunch of them down in Ozark. They built like a whole alley of them. I think that's the ugliest thing ever, but that was a technique.
Yeah, but
So here's what I've figured out. If you can do it perfectly, like it's supposed to be done.
Yeah.
And by supposed to be, I would say industry standards, right? If you work in industry, there's
for example,
you have to meet.
it's difficult for me to walk across the floor, walk in my basement without shoes on.
See,
Because there's a high risk that I might. Have you ever hit that part right behind your toe on the corner of the tile? Sticking up? That's terrible. I'm like, that's not art. That's not good. And you didn't know what you were doing.
yeah, but if you can do it perfect, right?
But yeah,
Then you're allowed to do whatever you want,
yeah.
and we'll see if your brand can stick through.
Yeah.
Obviously,
So
the over squished
I think
bricklayers, they're no longer around. We said, no, we're not down for that.
so. This I don't know if we've talked about it on an episode or not, but Weird Al Yankovic
Okay.
is like, I'm like, if you look at the musical talent, like in order for him to, like I would argue, he may be one of the most, like one of the greatest musicians ever.
Yeah.
Just the breadth and
How many instruments does-
of his knowledge. Yeah. The number of instruments, the style that he can, like he is an absolute,
He's a chameleon, isn't he?
yeah. And what does he do?
He's
Like, we're going to do the accordion song. You know?
yeah, grows his hip out, leans into being weird.
Yeah.
He makes it work.
But that's exactly like there is a distinct difference between someone who they have put in the work
Yeah.
to master something,
Yep.
and then they pull back to a point of I want
Take
to,
it so seriously all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
but they've already put in even if it took them time, or even if they were like, I loved the journey. Some people don't love the journey, but even if they love, they're like, the journey was great, whatever. They still
Of the journey to
put
get.
put in the time to like they have mastered this, and now they can do. Like, I'm going to do this weird twist on that.
Yeah.
Well, that looks odd to me. Well, I don't really care if it looks odd to you.
Yes.
It's right. This is perfect.
They're big enough to do it.
Well, I would make that not tilt this way. Well, that's because you're an idiot.
Right.
Because you don't know what you're talking about.
So,
Well, I have 50,000 hours of doing this. I could have made this blindfolded with one arm tied behind my back.
right.
While eating a sandwich.
His brand can handle it.
Yeah.
Whatever his brand, so my daughter loves Taylor Swift. You may be aware. She talks about her nonstop when she's around me. But Taylor Swift dropped this new album and it's horrible. It's like the most painful, like you can see there's like, dang girl, like get it all out. Like get it all out. There's no bangers. There's no songs. It's called the tortured poet depart. Like everything about it is horrible. The only one that can pull off dropping an album that bad is like Metallica with like Saint Anger. Or not that bad as Saint Anger.
Yeah.
With like Metallica. Or like the Beach Boys did a psychedelic album. You ever heard it? It's
Garth Brooks did his
Chris Gaines.
Yeah, Chris Gaines.
Okay, and so that you get big enough, and you can start to go, oh, I can do. And so when we see it, I listen to a lot of music, and I'm seeing a lot of cross genre between rap and country right now.
Yeah.
You know, Jelly Roll, Post Malone. Oh, they'll get that. Sorry for the interruption.
Hey,
but yeah,
everything happens.
Jelly Roll.
Somebody invented a telephone that was very creative of them.
Right. But they're crossing genres because they're big enough now that they can.
Yeah.
They don't have to like have this label. They don't have to be the this guy. They don't have to, you know, Eminem just killed Slim Shady in his last album. It was a beautiful piece of art. You have to listen to it from the beginning to the end, and it tells a beautiful story about this other self that got him all of his fame and got him all this stuff. And now he's trying to kill it because he doesn't have need of it. It's like, hey, that's good, you know? Like, I'm sure it was like very therapeutic for all of them to do that. And I think maybe, you know, Weird Al Yankovic, you know, J.K. Rowling, you think she takes her work nearly as serious as any of these people writing their fan fiction?
Yeah.
Like, she's like, guys, that was like 20 years ago. Like, we can.
Well, she's probably not move on. She's probably like, you can keep buying my book.
But there's going to be a new remastered triple platinum edition. You need to.
Yeah.
I'm going to put all the movies on one disc now.
Yeah.
So getting back to someone who,
all right, guys.
Oh, you're right. That's how this show goes.
Okay.
But we do need to get back to the glass.
Okay. Yeah. You guys want to go in there and check?
We're gonna have a little stop here on the video. You won't really notice the audio, and we'll come back with some glass balls.
All righty.
What's up, everybody?
So we're in the shop.
This is now warm.
This is warm over here.
That is 1,100 degrees, sir.
1,100.
Yeah.
Hey, so I think I asked you before, but I don't. Have you tried doing a steak sear?
So I've been cooked hot dogs. Well, like they drip.
Might be a little nut.
They drip so much.
Well, you put a drip pan underneath.
Yeah. I'm working on a pizza rack made out of bars. Before I moved, I was working on a pizza rack. You got to double it. I got to do some stuff. But pizza's actually, that gets cooked in Glassblower kilns across the country.
So what's the so this is 1,100 degrees.
Right.
This is just like warming stuff up, right?
So this is the annealing temperature of borosilicate glass.
Okay.
I have it at 1,100 because 1050 is where you need to have it, and I'm just a little bit overdoing it. So that allows it. So this actually heats it a little bit more out here. If it was down to 1050, it just wouldn't be putting as much out right here. It's a little bit of insurance.
Well, this says 1105. Did that 05 make
not a big deal? Yeah,
I don't know. You said 1100.
Well, 11. That just means that means the relay is a little bit off.
Oh, no, we're at 6. I think it's at 7 a minute.
Well, the relay is probably 9. I don't know.
So what temperature does it get to over here in the plant?
4,000.
4,000. Okay.
Right.
So 1,100 degrees.
So anything under 1050 has the ability to crack if we put it in there. So if I was just to take this and turn this on and just put that in there, it will just shatter.
Gotcha.
Because
you're going cold to hot.
Right. We have to think of this as energy.
Yeah.
Right. So that's potential, the stored energy. And now this is energy. And when that hits the glass, it makes the molecules in the glass start moving. And if we make it move too much too fast, then they explode. Once they get above 1,100 degrees, they're moving enough so we can just take it, throw it in the flame, and it's good to go. So that's where we have that. And then whenever let's say we join 2 or 3 pieces of glass together. If we look at this piece of glass right here, we see 1 piece of glass, 2 pieces of glass. Without the annealing abilities of the oven, that will remain 2 pieces of glass. When this sits in there for It's about 15 minutes for a quarter inch of glass. It will all come to the same temperature. And then as it cools down together and it's all becomes one piece of glass.
Yeah.
So that way we're selling people one piece of glass. So this right here is one piece of glass.
Yeah. Yeah. You've got the purple. So for people listening, it's like this purple turtle shell pattern that fades into or merges with clear glass in a big bubble.
Right. That will be a flower base.
Yeah.
So I was thinking we could just kind of show.
Yeah.
We just got a blank here. This is a milky purple blank. And we're just kind of do some shaping on it. I've been working on Christmas ornaments lately.
So that pedal that you pushed, what you saw that and it makes a big flame.
Yeah. So what I'm doing here is called insurancy. You'll see me do it throughout the time. So that turns on my second stage. I actually have two torches here. The first one is called a lynx, and that's the inner flame. And that's what I do most of my work on.
That's what makes me want to keep writing books. The inner flame.
The inner flame, right. That's but then every once in a while you need stuff to move faster. So you throw that on. Let me put my glasses on here.
Okay, so we got the glasses. What did you say these lenses are?
So the glass, it's a didymium lens.
Didymium lens.
Yeah, it's a purple. It's I believe purple's contrast.
Yeah.
The yellow. So
do my teeth look really white?
Yeah, they look great. They look great, man. I was going to tell you about that earlier. How good your teeth.
Okay, so stage 2 is just give me a little bit.
It's baking in all this heat. So before I move this glass, I want to make sure that all this glass is a uniform heat.
Yeah.
And by using our glasses, that's why we use our glasses is to be able to see.
So Jared, pull that
really
out real quick. Yeah. How's it? Is it showing up okay down there?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that yellow, it takes that yellow.
Is that in frame?
Out.
All right. So now we've got this really nice, beautiful shape. So we're gonna do a Christmas ornament here. Christmas is coming up. So the two biggest tools I have here are heat and gravity.
I was going to say your left hand and your right hand.
Well, yeah, those are pretty important. But so heat and gravity. If I don't have the right heat in the right spot, it won't work.
Yeah.
The only hot glass moves.
Yeah.
Right. So I've got to put the heat in the right spot to make the glass move the way I want it to move. And then gravity. If I'm working against gravity, my life is 100 times harder. Yeah. Once you learn to just throw the glass along, you're doing great there, glass. Keep it up.
So if you were on the space station, or higher up than the space station,
right?
How do you think that would you'd be able to be as creative with glassware?
Well, the higher I get,
with no gravity.
Oh, I thought you were being metaphorical. I was going to say the higher I get, the cooler stuff I make. So yeah, without gravity, that would be the weirdest thing in the world to blow glass without gravity.
So if we indeed put people on Mars, have humans land on Mars or approach Mars in 4 years,
right?
If you get a phone call that says, do you want to go attempt blowing glass on Mars?
Man, honestly, here's the thing. So I had this little thing that the DSM-5, if you're familiar, called the psychotic break. And during that psychotic break, I made the determination that I don't want to leave my wife.
Yeah.
She is my anchor. So,
I will class hours and she gets to go with you.
100%. Yeah.
And
let's go. Let's go, babe. Let's go. Yeah. All day long. All day long. I'm there for the adventure. Sorry, kids. All right, so I put this.
So you were just rolling that on those hard.
So these are called our bumpers, yeah. And so I was just kind of like setting a nice little surface.
And here's the actual blowing of glass blowing.
Yep, this is the blowing of glass blow. So it just needs an internal pressure. That's what I'm doing, is giving it an internal pressure.
So what happens if while you're blowing, you go, achoo?
Depending upon how hot it is, we can have big problems.
Yeah.
I've definitely blown stuff out. I've blown walls out. Just going.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me the question.
I mean, are you like literally just barely blowing a little bit of air? So are you like, have you just learned over time to be like, this is the right back pressure, feeling the right pressure?
Yep. And yeah, we call it clicking.
Yeah.
And, it's there for every sport, every industry, everybody.
Well, when you're running a skid, when you find hydraulic feedback,
yeah,
you get that feel of, this is the right amount of pushback on my handle pedals to dig into the soil.
Right. And you just know you're at the right angle, and you know everything's going to work. And if you go in the wrong angle with those, you're going to blow your hydraulics, you're going to do all kinds of problems, right? So, yeah, you just kind of learn it. So we have it looks kind of nasty right here.
Yeah, it's kind of
right. It's not pretty. But what we're doing is we're working a ball here in the middle of it. And when we get it all the way done,
I was trying to think, like, do you even know what Christmas is?
It's time for pretty things.
So you had kind of two little balls there, or two little ridges.
Yep, two little ridges.
You're making it into one.
Exactly.
Is that how you typically have to do that?
Yep.
Or
yeah, it's a fairly typical way to build up a big ball or a hollow Maria, a bubble.
So you don't want to get like, I'm going to heat up this great big section of glass and try to blow it into a big bubble. Or are the glass blowers that do that?
Oh yeah. And the better you get, the cooler stuff you can do. But see, I'm being filmed right now. And I'm just trying to do some real simple stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, here's how we do it. So this is called a finial. A finial ornament. They look like the finial toppers of banisters.
Oh, okay.
So, so that's, and so, yeah, so that's what we're doing. Well, what I'll do is I'll cut it off right here, and I'll put a topper on there. And then this part right here will hang down. And so now we just work down from here, and it looks off center. But what we're going to do is we're going to fix it. Glass has no memory. And so all we have to do is recenter it and then pull it.
So it makes me think of like when you're watching someone who really knows what they're doing on a potter's wheel. Yeah, you're like, oh, it's like going to fall over and it's getting all wonky and crazy. And then in the very next minute, in the next few seconds, they're like, oh, it's getting ready to tip. And then they're like, and magic vase.
I appreciate that reference to my work right now so much, Chris. Thank you. I had a pottery lady in here earlier, and we were talking about how similar the two mediums are when it comes to balance and doing it the right way.
One will melt your face on.
Yeah, one's 4,000 degrees, and the other's nice. So you really can't see what I'm doing. Right?
I mean,
like my movements are measured in millimeters.
Yeah,
with my hands. I'm actually fully like that.
Gotcha.
Once you.
So for those listening, if you've seen the top of gone into a house with a banister, where at the top of the banister, like you get this It looked like multiple brick.
What's helper?
What's that?
And only no.
Yeah. Bed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The top of a classic antique bedpost. Only it's being made out of hollow glass.
Yeah. No
And
big
it's
deal.
all like very, very slow tension and slow pressure blown internally down the glass tubes to get them to expand and twist and shape into that knoll post look. But it's not going to be a knoll post. It's going to be Christmas ornament.
The taper, the shaping. That's what gets me.
Yeah,
Is taking something that looks just like a tube. I buy this in 8-foot sections,
yeah.
break it down. And yeah.
So how long did it take you to get comfortable enough to be like, okay, I can just do this? Like, I'm going to make an ornament and I'm just going to make something that looks like this. And I know I'm going to get it to turn out like that.
a few years. I don't really have a teacher. I'm fairly self-taught. So I use YouTube. So we do it like that because that causes a thermal break. And that helps the glass to break. And then I'm able to open that back up. If I let that close, it'll
harder.
create a hermetic seal, cause all kinds of problems. When you heat it up, it sinks down and it's problematic. So now we're going to take this and we're going to kind of create this into a thing. And what do you want to do this? You want to give it away to somebody on your pot? You guys do like giveaways or?
We've done a giveaway in the past. We could,
Yeah, absolutely.
we can do
I love giving stuff.
well, think of like what the requirements would be.
And so, you see the problems in it, but people let it go. It's art.
Well, like the Japanese, like no vase, no
Yeah.
teacup, no whatever should be perfect.
Yeah. The Amish will skip a stitch.
Yeah.
They're the only one perfect with God. If you didn't make a mistake, skip a stitch. It's the only one perfect.
Or Bob Ross, we don't make mistakes. We just have happy
We just
accidents.
happy accidents. Yeah.
That's not what your dog does in the middle of the night.
Really? Been called Bob Ross of Glass a few times. I wear that one proudly. And then, for the Halloween enjoyer, and then you put a titanium tip in here, and then you smoke weed with it. That's what most people do. Bunch of druggies. So I can't figure out what to do with this next.
Oh, wow.
Okay, yeah, can you
Let's see. Oh, you want to?
get that up closer?
Are we still filming?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
Yeah, if we get the light from the other side, kind of see the little patterns and stuff in there
Yeah. So
and the colors and whatnot.
I shaped it so well that I'm afraid of messing it up. So I'm like,
And that's why
that's why it's art.
That's why
It's
you-
way for 6 months.
pop it and put a crack in it. And we're like, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. I actually have, what's his name? Brother Moore. His son is coming over and we're wanting to put this kind of a joint. And we shouldn't show this on camera because it's very phallic. But we're wanting to put this doer joint in where it's inside the wall of the vessel instead of sticking out. Because I just have cleaner overall looks. So yeah, it sits and waits. It may be there for another 6 months and you get up. Yeah. Hey, this is this fun little thing.
Yeah, you get all the nice tie-dye looking.
Yeah, somebody's gonna love that. I think.
Yeah. Somebody would. I know people, at least that I went to high school with, that they'd be like, that's the best.
Right. And like Subaru people. This is from my buddy. He loves Subarus.
Nice.
So I'm making.
Oh, dope.
Oh, yeah. You want to see it? Let's
So, looks like the Subaru emblem for people listening. little Subaru marble.
There we go. Yeah. This is called a Millie. Somebody took and painted this basically and created this image in glass 3D, this big around, and then melted it and pulled it down like that taffy candy.
Yeah.
They pull it all the way down.
Yeah, that's one of the things I watch different glass blowing stuff. When you heat the glass up,
Mhm.
it all turns bright orange.
It reaches a laminar flow.
But from a color, like it all gets the same color. And then I'm like, wait a minute, you've got purple glass and green glass and clear glass and white glass and specks.
Because there's finally enough heat everywhere.
But no, what I'm saying is when you're like, now I'm going to shape this into this magical thing. And you can't see the colors. It's all orange.
But now you know we can't. I can still see colors.
So from this, like I couldn't tell from over here the difference between. I mean, I guess you were working in purple.
Yeah, I was working all in one color, so it's hard to see. But like when I worked in this, I can have this completely flowing at flow state, laminar flow
and you
state.
Can see that
I can still see the lines between the colors.
Okay, because like I haven't been close enough to it to see. And then on the show, the blown away, I'm like, it's just bright orange.
Yeah, that's
what the heck? How are they even making different things?
Yeah, our ditties we call them. They allow us to see all of the details because, for example, this right here, I'm shaping this entire piece. This is going to be a Wu-Tang. If you're into East Coast rap music,
Wu-Tang
Clan pipe, and so when I shape this, I can see
all like the intricate details.
See, I've done some videos before, so I know about hand. But there y'all go. But yeah, so that's basically stand here. My rule is if you're not having fun, you're not allowed to stand right here.
Yeah.
So as soon as if you aren't having fun on the torch, turn it off and go do something else. This is a happy place. My rule.
What if it's therapeutic and you're crying?
That's probably better then. That's probably better, right? Like that's
so.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe.
Like well, like. But that's a good emotion still, right? Because if you're crying because you're happy, you gotta be.
So
can't be.
There's another shirt for you. You need, if you're happy and you know it, blow some glass.
I have one that says caution. Glass looks like cold glass.
Yeah.
Like again.
Yeah. Looking in here, that's 11 degrees.
Here you go.
I'm like,
some clear.
Jared, lick that.
Yeah.
And tell it what you experience.
If you would like to know, human flesh smells like hot dogs at 1100 degrees. In case any riders out there need to know that kind of thing. But yeah, you go.
Yeah, as a welder,
there you go.
I'm aware.
Yep. Radiant heat. I dropped a marble on my belly one time. I used to sit because I thought that was okay. And now I don't. Because I like to be able to jump out of the way. I had a marble just jump on me. Imagine like it was red hot. So I'm going to say 2000 degrees slag just lands on you. And I'm like, what? Burns. I had radiant burns, probably about that big around from that, just like sitting on there and just like eating it away. I was like, oh, fun.
Yeah.
Yes, good time. People, how do you do how do you become a glass blower? Blood, sweat, and tears. I almost got off my toe.
Blood, sweat,
burned myself.
Blister, hospital visit.
Oh, blister. I had sulfate everywhere.
If you can keep it like lotion with infused lidocaine.
Well, yeah. Well, that's what here.
Yep, there you go. Nice burn relief.
This has lidocaine, and I think this is the silver sulfate as well. Anyway, yeah, I've got all this stuff. Biggest part of to stop blowing glass, I always get mad. I'm like, dang it, I was really on a roll.
Yeah,
that's what it usually, like you get creative and you get in that zone, and then you get pulled out.
Yeah,
and that's
Inevitable.
thing and no.
Yes.
So, are you a fan of Brandon Sanderson?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Melissa, we were just talking this morning about how he says he won't work unless he has 4 hours set aside to do it and to get into that zone. And I'm like, how deep is your world? Like, how deep is your world that you have to get into and get refamiliarized and get back into?
Have you seen the interview? Have you seen his interview where they showed his house? So Brandon Sanderson, where he lives, he bought a house and he bought the house next door.
Okay.
And the house, the main house, like that's where he lives. And the house next door is where his team of like 60 people come and they all work.
Oh, nice.
And between the two or like somewhere, he has a tunnel that goes under the houses between the two houses. And that tunnel goes down, I think it's 30 feet into an underground layer. That is his. He's got all this stuff. And I'm like,
And that's
so when you say, how deep is his world? It's at least 30 feet. Literally 30 feet underground.
That's crazy. Yeah, I didn't know that. Yeah, Melissa.
Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, she listens to all his podcasts.
Yeah.
So it was that's the Glassblower. Everything is shaping glass. Everything is solid Marias, which is those little, tight squishes, or bubbles, but hollow Marias, which are the big ones. And then, everywhere you look in glass, once you see that, you just realize that, oh, look, it's all push, pull, twist, blow.
Yeah.
Do it all.
Need a shirt that just says that. Push, pull, twist, blow.
Push, pull.
Nothing else. No other reference.
Oh, but like it would be like,
you need to like design that out of like glass, the word push, pull, twist, blow, and then do a fiber optic light through it.
There's a guy.
And put that on a shirt.
There's a guy that makes to make a pipe that says that. He worked neon a lot. And so he bends all that.
Yeah.
He made his name in a pipe. Yeah. And then he hit it. And as the smoke came, each letter filled in, it was like HAMM. Like it was like, dude, that's like really cool. So pandemic stuff. What do you? Hey,
it opened up a lot of creativity.
It did. That is for sure. Oh man,
Thanks for showing us that.
Yes,
that is.
Really appreciate you doing this.
Yeah, no problem, guys. I love helping people out, and
So for everyone out there, first off, where can people find you?
You guys can find me at Facebook. Laughing Dragon Smoke Shop is where we're most active. We have an Instagram page, Laughing Dragon Smoke Shop. And on Twitch, if you want to see us streaming, I'm LOL Dragon, LOL Dragon 417. I get on there every once in a while and we'll blow some blasts together. So if you enjoyed what you saw here, you can get a one-on-one basically, because I only get like one. I think it's a bot. I think it's like a bot to make you think somebody's looking.
Go agree with the bot.
So you start talking. You to like 3 minutes. I'm like, this person never talked. I don't think it's real. But so come on by. Or 211 East Jackson, Marshfield, Missouri. If you're in Southwest Missouri, we'd love to have people come through and actually do a lot of stuff. Be your Christmas ornaments.
Yeah.
And win one.
Yeah. We'll figure out a way to before Christmas. So we'll figure out a way to
I'll get it.
do a giveaway.
I'll get it cut off.
And somebody a Laughing Dragon Christmas ornament.
I love it. Yeah. We'll get some sticker and we'll do a whole.
Yeah. And if you make any of those T-shirt ideas, maybe we'll do some T-shirt giveaways.
Dude, I have a T-shirt store. So if you ever need T-shirts done, we have a T-shirt store on Amazon, and we can just go in there and swap out designs, and then you can go in there and just like put your design in, order it. So, I'm wearing a T-Turtle one today. T-Turtle's great. I love that I'm wearing this one for but my wife, she probably makes me a shirt a month, and just like, so half my shirts I wear are funny. I got one that says like, anyway. I'll be here.
We got to tell them that
on my.
Okay. So go check it out.
Yep.
The Laughing Dragon Smoke Shop on Facebook, Instagram. Go check out get on some of those Twitch streams and when he's on and see some more glass blowing. Yeah. Say hello. Tell him let them know we sent you over there.
Yes, please do. Please do tell me you came from these guys, because I think this is great. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, this was really cool. We appreciate you showing us. So, well, thanks everybody for joining us today and for following along. Hope you enjoyed it as much as we do. And till next time, go in good spirits. Thanks for listening to the Creators Guild podcast. Don't forget to get your copy of A Flight from Shadows, available on Amazon. While you're there, please rate it and give it a review. If you like the Creators Guild, please like and subscribe, and make sure to share it with your friends. Until next time, go in good spirits.